Thank you so much for joining us in another edition of the Evening Farm Drive with me, Jackie Moore. How was your Christmas? How did you spend it? Was it with family? Was it with your friends? Were you alone? What did you eat? I ate a lot of chicken and goat meat, and I tried brown ugali, and yes, it was amazing. Spent it with my family, and we made merry. This only happens once in a year, so yeah, had a very blessed Christmas, and looking forward to the coming year. It has been a year of challenges from drought, the hike in fuel and food prices, the passing of the GMOs, and yes, so we are hoping for better things in the coming year. And just before we jump into the year, we want to take a look at some of the stories that have been making headlines in the agriculture scene. And today I'm blessed to be joined by Samuel Mwangi, the agronomist, who will share with us how he celebrated his Christmas. Thank you so much, Samuel, for making time to join us.
Thank you very much, Jackie, for the opportunity. Yes, here is Sam, the agronomist, and I'm happy to be here.
How did you celebrate your Christmas?
Where did I?
How was your Christmas? How are you celebrating Christmas this year? Or you're doing it at the farm? Because I'm seeing you're on the farm.
I think my Christmas started even before December because I'm still doing what I love and what I do best. So I'm still in the farm. I'm hoping maybe to do it this time. I want to do it to celebrate my Christmas still on the farm because I think that's where I'll have much happiness than anywhere else.
So what are you currently up to? We are seeing you're at the farm. Are you growing a new variety of crops? What is happening at the farm?
So currently, what is happening on the farm I'm currently at? I've just completed doing what we call the drip irrigation installations. I was installing drip irrigations. So of course, getting ready for the for the dry season in January, so that my crop will have enough water for the same. So I've just completed the installation, and currently I'm still on the process of establishing a crop that I'll do come January. So I'm getting ready for a little farming here.
Which crop are you venturing into? And kindly show us the drip lines that you're doing. And yes, take us through the installation process. If you can just show us one drip line.
Okay. So I'm planning to do what you call the capsicum. These are the drips. As you can see, they have not been used, and right now we have a lot of weeds, and that is what I'm actually watering so that it grows, so that I then eliminate it. And before now I get to farming, I'm planning to establish capsicum here. I'm planning to do capsicum, cabbages, and also what you call the broccoli and the cauliflower. So that is what I'm planning to do here. But in the meantime, I've planted some fruits. So these are the fruits. This yellow passion. Actually, that is what I was irrigating today. So this is the irrigation system. And now this is what we call the drippers. Now this one is giving water to the fruit, as you can see. So this is what I was doing today because I have not yet established the nursery for the growing crops here. But in the meantime, I decided to do the fruit so that the shaba is not as idle as it looks like. At least I have some different varieties of fruit. I have the passion fruit. I have a banana here. That's a banana. I also have avocado here, the hash avocado, as you can see, growing well. So basically, I need this farm to be like more of a demonstration farm because I'm doing different crops here. So that's why I decided to start with with the fruit in the initial.
Very interesting. If
But
you can probably zoom into the drip, I've never seen that kind of drip. I'm used to the one that usually just drops a drop of water. So this one I'm seeing it's
oh,
sprinkling. Tell us that kind of irrigation that you're doing there and show us how it is done.
okay, this type of irrigation is not as the one you know. I think this is the one that you know. These ones, these are the drip lines, huh? The
Okay.
normal not drip lines.
Yeah.
This one is special. You have to assemble it. It's not something that you'll go to a shop and get. Actually, this one is what you use now. We usually say kutumia akili kidogo. So from this one we call it the PE pipe. It's 16 millimeters, as you can see. So you just need to connect this P is the one that we use for the drip irrigation. But in this time, I've used it to now do this one that you are saying it's a special. Let's say it's a special irrigation system. But this one is mostly done to these hardy crops like avocados, coffee, these big growing crops. But for this one is mostly used for the horticulture crops. So what happens here? There is this what we call the dripper. This is a dripper. This one is connected now to the PE pipe, and you open it. You can cross it. You see it now. It has stopped removing water. So then you can also open it depending on the amount of water you want it to drip. So we also have a valve here for the same, so that you cross it when you're not using it, like that one. You see now it has stopped. So this is let me call it a system that is designed for mostly like fruit plants, these big crops like avocados and mangoes. I think basically it's used to water that kind of crop. The good thing about it is that you only establish these drippers where the crop is. You see, so you have to establish it where the crop is, where you want to establish the fruit, either the fruit or the avocados. That's how special it is. Not like this one that has exact measurement on the emitter. This one is different from that. So Jackie, I think
So,
you've got a clear
how
picture.
much water does a farmer require when they're using that kind of dripper? Because I'm assuming it's almost the same kind as a sprinkler irrigation kind of system. Very interesting. There we are with Samuel Mwangi, the agronomist, and he's showing us the new innovation that he has on his farm. Samuel, I was asking you how much water does a farmer need for that kind of system? Because it looks almost the same as a sprinkler kind of system.
No, this one is very different from the sprinkler. Actually, for sprinkler, you'll need a lot of water compared now to this one, because it's only that on the video you can see it throwing a lot of water, but actually it's very minimal water. You're using a very little water here compared when you compare to the sprinkler, because sprinkler, what I understand from sprinkler irrigation is that you'll need some more water compared to this one. For this one, you see, I've connected it to the same pipe I used for the drip irrigation. They need the sprinkler. This one will.
Yes,
Jackie,
go
can you
on.
hear me?
We're listening.
Okay. Basically, you just need the same water as that for the normal irrigation system, because this one is more or actually there is less water that is used when now you compare to the sprinkler, because the sprinkler you'll need a lot of water for the same.
Very interesting there. And today I called you for a special edition. We need to do a recap of some of the stories that have been making heads up. I know there's a time we had a show and I was against irrigation system, and I'm still for rain-fed agriculture. As much as you're trying to convince us that the technology is nice, uses minimal water. I've interviewed a couple of experts, and I'll be challenging you as we go on in the show. And fertilizer, crop protection, and labor are the top three areas in which farmers are experiencing cost increases. And right now, I'm assuming it's the planting season for most of the farmers. And as you've shown us, you're growing capsicum, broccoli, and I know there are other crops that you're also planting. What is your take first on the planting season? Farmers are almost planting. At what point should one consider like swapping or rotating their crop from full season crops to the short season crops? Because I understand most parts of the country farmers have been harvesting maize. So what time, at what point should a farmer decide which crop to rotate with which crop?
Very good question, Jackie. I think when you talk about crop rotation, that's a very important thing when, as far as crop is concerned, and also knowing the right time when to plant what crop at what time and all that. The other thing I've heard you mention is about the cost of production, because if there's something that is actually becoming a problem to most of us farmers is now when you talk about the cost of production. Because remember, cost of production is something that in farming is something that you use money or use resources, and you've not had a return on the same, and you don't even know whether you'll have a return on the same. So let me first of all start with the cost of production. And I usually like basing my answers on mostly what you are against. When you talk about like here, for example, we are doing the drip irrigation. First of all, now to base to support my answer on the cost of production, or the ways that you can be able to reduce the cost of production. The first thing is that when you think about something like drip irrigation system, this is something that that beat the cost of production, or it reduces the cost of production by almost a half, or even bigger than that. Because, like you can see right now, I don't have a farm had here on the farm. It's about 3 acres actually, and the whole tree under the drip irrigation system. You see now, I only need like one farm hand for the work. So in this kind of system, and the technology, technology in agriculture, they are coming up with the ideas of first of all is the reduction of production. The other one is the uniform growth of crops with less cost. That is, if you look at something like drip irrigation, to start with, there will be a greater reduction of cost of production. Reason being, you see the number of people that could have been required for the same now have reduced compared now if it was using the other systems or the other old ways of agriculture. And by that, actually, I'm supporting my answer on the illegal part of it. Now that is the new technology that you've always been against. So the other thing is on you've talked about the best time for cropping, and one thing I have seen with us farmers is that if there is something that has been becoming a great problem to us, is now the timing on crop. Right now, most farmers are now getting ready for January so that they prepare their runs, and most of them actually about to have, like you've always talked about the rain-fed farming. Most people are now depending on the rain-fed, which is okay because the rain is there. But now you tend to see that in Kenya, like this is the season. People know that this is the season. So meaning most people will be planting crops or different crops at this time. which now will affect whereby you find out that a certain crop in the market is planted. The reason being because it was planted by most people at that particular time, and that is also has been affecting the cost and the prices of commodities in our market, because we are planting things like at the same time, the same type of crop. Now that one is affecting the prices, because this thing will be flooding the market at a particular time, just like the way you planted at the same time. The same case will happen to now the stocking of the market. You will find out that a certain commodity is in the market by surplus and it's too much. Now you all know that prices of commodities, especially agricultural commodities in Kenya, they are determined by the forces of supply and demand. So when the supply is too much in the market, then it means also that quantity is that commodity is too much in the farm, and the same case now will be affecting the prices, because if the commodity is there in the market by in large numbers, then you'll have to sell it maybe at a lower price, so that at least you get some more people to buy it, and because these agricultural commodities are perishable. So that is also something that has been affecting on the as much as timing of cropping is concerned, Jackie.
Very interesting. Still on the planting season, you as an agronomist, how do you advise your farmers when the best time to plant is? Is it during the wet conditions, or is it better to wait until wet conditions subside and then plant?
Okay, as an agronomist, I think both time are okay, because remember here we are talking about two farmers. There are those farmers who are highly depending on. They don't have other option. They only depend on the lane-fed farming, and then we have the others on like me myself here. I'm doing the irrigation system. So this is now where the problem comes, or now the solution should come. For those of us who are doing the rain-fed, there are no those farmers who depend on the rain-fed systems or the rain-fed season. You find that there are crops that are when most people will do the rain-fed. Like I try to understand that most farmers who mostly depend on the rain-fed are the maize farmers, the beans farmers, the cereals. But now when you come to the other crops, like the horticultural crops, I think as an agronomist, the best time for there's a lot that need to be done, especially on the timing. Because remember, Jackie, you're not only looking at this thing by just only by planting. No, you're also looking at the efforts, because remember anything that as a farmer you do, it has an end result or an end effect that will be felt by almost everybody. You can imagine now, if we all depend on the rain-fed seasons, or we all the rain-fed crops. Now it means that when the rain comes, all of us shall now get into the farming, depending on the lane, and it means that at the end of it all, we shall have surplus of crops that have been grown on the same season. So I tend to think what I would advise farmers is that there is if you want to do very well in farming, the best thing to do is that's what we call the timing, because timing is very important. Like for example, right now, most farmers are preparing their lands and probably getting ready for farming. January, that is now what you usually call the rain-fed season. And then for us who are doing, using the irrigation systems, the greenhouses, I mean the technologies that are or the irrigation systems. You see, the irrigation system, you don't usually depend on so much depend on the rains. So it means that as an agronomist, like myself, is that I would not advise those people who are doing farming through irrigation to plant the same crops as those ones who are now depending on. At least for us who are doing the irrigation, and because we have equal flow of water all throughout the season, maybe you can give it some time. Like for myself, I've not the reason I've not planted right now, and I'm actually planning to do it immediately in January, because in January there will be hot season, and definitely those who are depending on the lanes shall not have maybe planted their commodity. So I expect maybe we shall crock the market differently with those people who are doing the rain fed system, the rain fed cropping.
Mm. Very interesting inputs there you're sharing. Now, lastly, on the agronomy part, is with the harsh climatic conditions currently being experienced countrywide, we understand that most of you agronomists study soil, plants, seeds, and products to better understand what the crop needs and how to develop more effective and efficient farming practices. What are some of the researches that you've been conducting, and what results are you seeing? What can you tell farmers in the coming season? What do they need to do differently?
Okay, the first thing on the same, that's a very interesting topic, Jackie, and actually I've been like you see, I'm always on the farm. So basically, it means that of course there are so many things I'm learning all together, not mostly for myself, but also for because I'm as an agronomist, I'm doing all these things to develop and generate information that will now be useful or will be used as a tool by my farmers, so that with the name of, because being an agronomist is you are a person who is, your aim is now improving food production and to the farmers, because like, we call ourselves the subject matter specialists, because most of the time I'm in the farm. These are the things. There are farmers who are, maybe there's a farmer somewhere who is saying, no, I want to do farming, but I've been doing that thing, so I know I have developed as an agronomist. I need to develop things that I know for that farmer who is coming maybe fresh from other enterprises coming out farming, will at least get some information from me. So I think you've talked about like I've said, it's a very interesting thing, because one thing and the most important thing is about those farming that are or things that will improve farming in the coming for those farmers who are planning to do the farming. So I think the first thing is so that you improve your food production. There's a need for what we had earlier talked about on crop rotation, because remember, this soil is still the same soil that was planted by those people who are there before us. So this sometimes this soil is sometimes it get what we call exhaustion. It get to a point of exhaustion point. This whereby you find out that the same soil, because no soil has been imported from. It is the same soil that was there, that was yesterday, till today, and it shall be always. It shall be here even in the future. So what there is need for crop rotation, and when you talk about crop rotation, is now this where now you do farming on different, because different crop will obtain different nutrition from the soil, from the same soil. So what usually happens, once a certain crop, there are some crops that will consume the soil, or will consume a lot of nutrients from the soil. And if you do a consistency of the same crop for a longer time, then it means that soil will be to some point the soil will get to exhaustion, and it shall have no nutrients available for the same. So the best thing I can advise on that is that we need to do. Remember, this soil is a constant aspect that is not changing. So when we talk about crop rotation, we also need to replenish our soil. This is by so doing, we are supposed to also like care about the soil. Remember, this is something that it's like a cow that you are milking. So if you talk about a cow you're milking, then it means for you to obtain some milk, you need to give that cow the best nutrition, the best feed, the best care. Just the same as our soils here that we make. It's supposed to happen the same. Like you're supposed to, after a long time culture, doing farming on your land, sometimes you also need to give it some break, so that it also replenish back to its normal situation. We can also do those things by also applying the manure, the organic matter, because organic matter is actually what forms the basis of soil. So organic, but maybe after some times you need to put manure in your farm, so that at least it get back to its normal condition. The second thing about on the now on care of our crops on improving more food production in our soils or in our farms, we also need there's something that I've come to do a research on the same. And over the years, we as farmers, we've adopted the new soil nutrition methods, like for example, fertilizer application. And we've forgotten that these fertilizers are chemicals. And what we do to our soil, we think that we are feeding our crops, but we are also destroying our soils. And remember, I've said that soil is very constant, and it's something that if we don't take care of, it is something that shall be used by us. Our children will use them. The generation that will come and go will still use it. So by the use of fertilizers, I'm not against the use of fertilizers, but sometimes so that we keep safe our soil, I think the use of fertilizers has been greatly exhausted, or let me talk of misuse. So many people have been using fertilizers, and by so doing, they are also destroying our soils. So, and whereby you find out that people have forgotten that we used to farm with manure only, and most farmers tend to think that if I apply more fertilizers on my crops, then I shall have more production. Yes, you shall have more production, but do you really care about the soil that now gave you the supported the crop growth? So by that doing, we're also supposed to reduce the use of fertilizers. And how do we reduce this use of fertilizers or use of chemicals? The first thing I've come to realize that most farmers have not embraced what we are calling the soil testing measures. Like for myself, before I do any crop growing, I've adopted these measures of doing a soil test first. Remember, a soil test is the solution to almost all these problems that we are experiencing of low food production in our farms. Because once I do a soil test in my farm, I'll be able to establish, uh, I'll be able to know the condition of my soil. First of all, I'll be able to know what is deficient or what is not enough in my soil. And I shall be able to know what do I need in my soil. So with those solutions, like or with that soil test, I'll be able to know that my soil has nitrogen. So even when I'm coming now to do the farming, I'll not use a lot of maybe fertilizers uh, rich in nitrogen, because I've already known that my soil has enough nitrogen, it has enough phosphorus, it has enough potassium, and all that. So that is one of the control measures for all these problems that we are having. Because you'll find out that some farmers are doing farming, and you continue applying something in the farm, maybe thinking that the crop will respond well, but maybe that thing is already in the soil, and now you are not putting it now to higher concentration on the same, and you see now the crop will not respond to as you might think, because that thing is now getting higher levels of the same. So I think that is also an important aspect to look at as people approach now to farming. There is need to do a soil test so that you'll be able to have, and you'll be able, that this is a research I've been doing, and I've come to find out that it also reduces the cost of production, because you'll find out that maybe you had planned to buy maybe bags of fertilizers, and then after doing a soil test you'll find out that no, I don't need that, I don't need this. So you'll only be having a bit or mitigation measures that are directly solving what is lacking in the soil. Back to you, Jackie.
Very interesting. Now we are done with that part, and we'll still remain with matters soil. We are getting now into the news review, some of the stories that have been making headlines in the news, starting with the recent one. The world recently marked the World Soil Day. And just like you've mentioned, it is important to carry out soil testing. But as an agronomist, which part of the soil samples do you take? Because I recently had an interview with John Rasik he's an enthusiast of soil, and he was like, farmers need to really understand what is beneath the surface. Is it just the topsoil? What are the pans? What are the pans looking like under the soil? Which part of soil do you advise farmers to do a soil test on? And also, what is the importance of people understanding really what is beneath the topsoil?
Okay, Jackie. So when you talk about the soil, I think there is so much that farmers need to know about the soil, because the soil is not just the particles that we see. The soil is a composition of so many things all together that are combined so that it can be called soil. So maybe as an agronomist, what I usually emphasize on is now because we have the subsoil, you have the topsoil. The most important soil, I think, for agriculture is now although others are also important because they are part of the soil, but the topsoil is the best because this is the one that we are farming directly on. So this is the soil that I usually advise farmers to know what it really entails, so that even before you now embark on or you get back to farming, what does your soil entail? So I think the soil that I usually advise on is basically the topsoil.
Very nice. And having been traveling around the country, I know you must have seen the various types of soils that we have across the country. What would you say is the status of our soils, and what should farmers do to preserve and conserve the current status of our soils?
Just like I've had mentioned earlier, Jackie, is that the current situation of our soil is one thing. First of all, it was one thing because our soil has, like I've said, it has been over the years have been people are doing farming without just the things that I've talked about on the crop rotation. And the reason I said our soil is so much wanting is because different area has different soil, and this soil you'll tend to find out you'll come to find out that each area, depending on how the method of farming that they are using, our soil is wanting in this reason. Like I said earlier about the use of fertilizers, lack of crop rotation, exhaustion, general exhaustion, soil erosion. Different area has its problem. Like you go to different places, like you find out that there are so many erosion happening in the soil, which and that one is a problem for the same. So we also need or have a need to control these things like soil erosion. When you talk about now the use of chemicals and all that, that is something that we are also supposed to look at, because we are looking at a ways of where we can conserve our soil, because farming is not just farming without the soil. We may have all these things we are calling the hydroponics and the GMO and all that, but farming through the soil remains through the soil, and there is no way that we can say that we shall have another farming away from now the actual farming from the soil. Like I've talked about the hydroponics and all that. That one can never be enough. So the soil, remember, is the same thing that you are stepping on. There are so many factors that so much depend on the soil. So soil is not something. In as much as we may have all those hydroponics and all that, we need for us to conserve the soil. By these measures include now controlling these soil erosions. We also have mitigation like proper use of chemicals on our soils. We also have things like crop rotation and all that, Jackie.
Very interesting there. The next story is on the COP27 highlights. I know we talked a lot about the climate effects of climate change, and for the very first time at the COP27 summit, food was talked about, and many people are very enthusiastic that it's about time that we also got food systems and food security being highlighted among the talks on climate change. Probably before we get into incorporating food systems and climate change, What was your take on the COP27? Did it have any impact? Did you follow the conference? What are your thoughts on the COP27?
Yes, Jackie. I think you're the same person who made me follow the COP. Actually, I followed the COP 2022 summit, and to be honest, it has a great impact because uh, like the time I was when I was doing the follow up, they were talking about what you've talked about on food security, and they were talking, of course. Actually, they were talking about mostly on the soil and how can you take care about our soil. And the reason they based the discussion on mostly on the talked about on there's no way we can talk of how other than the one that we know from the soil can be reliable on food production. So when we talk about food security, uh, they were so much emphasizing that in Africa, and especially in Africa, you'll find out that there are some that are like experiencing these food shortages because that's all about food security. Food security is the availability of enough food that people can consume and maybe they also take to the market. Because we usually say that as farmers, the major role that for one to do farming is to, first of all, to satisfy your own stomach. Before now you get to other people, you get it to the market. You first of all that stomach, maybe both feeding and the pocket. Right. So that is important. Talk about the food sector. If people are impact on the COP 2020 is that they were so much talking about soil conservation. And the reason they were talking about soil conservation is because they know or they want to add value on the importance of taking care of our crops because this is the soil that we need for food production. And when we have enough food, now after now making our soil suitable for the growth of crops and generally taking care of our crops, then it means that we shall have enough food, and the availability of food will mean that we shall have beaten the problem of food shortages or the food security, or we shall have enough food for ourselves and for others.
Then the main question lingers then, how do we associate food systems in climate mitigation talks, keeping in mind that most farmers this year quit farming because of the ongoing drought and the changes in weather patterns. Most parts have received very minimal rain, and some like the place where I'm at Kajiado, they received less rain, if at all there was rain, and livestock have died, and you're still experiencing failed or minimal rains. So how then do we associate the food systems in the climate mitigation talks, or should we have the talks, or we need now the people to start walking the talk?
So I think we still need some more talks because remember these talks are basically to bring solutions to these problems because in as much as we have the talks, I think we as people who are listening to these talks, we need to also have an impact from the same because from the talks you find out that there are so many things that you get to learn on the solution to this problem. So I think farmers or as people who are mostly involved on these food systems, we also need to do or to learn from what these talks are because I'm not against the talks. They are very important because after all, they are talks now to bring solutions to this problem that we are experiencing. Take an example of the drought system. These talks are coming up so that they may help, or so that they may have an impact on the change on the farming system. Because now, if it is during that drought, like I was following up on the same on. There was this time that animals were dying in, I think, Kajiado and all those dry areas. Animals were dying. every day the animals were trying, and I could hear people coming with different views on the same, and they were saying that if these people maybe at that particular time they know this season, because these talks are coming up to sensitize people on some of these happening. You hear people giving solutions that maybe at that particular time you are supposed to have, these are the things that you are supposed to do before now you now in the aim of now getting ready for such an a situation whereby you find out that people are being advised on the storage of feeds like these dry feeds like haze and all that. They're also talking about mitigation on now. If you know this is the season that usually has this problem, maybe you.
Yes, you're still online with Samuel Mwangi, the agronomist, and you're trying just to look at and analyze some of the stories that have been making headlines throughout the year in the agriculture scene. We are talking about the talks at the COP27 and trying to find solutions to the ongoing problems. We've mentioned some of the stories. Also, we touched on the World Soil Day that recently happened and the importance of people really getting to understand the various formulations of our soils and how to keep our soils healthy. I'll be taking a quick breather, but before I do that, I'll be letting you know about the markup campaign that we've been running throughout the month of December, where we are trying to create awareness on aflatoxins, its effects on our health, our bodies, what causes aflatoxins. As you know, aflatoxins erupt from our soils, and if we don't make proper storage for our most of our cereals and some of our spices and herbs, they are the most crops that are usually affected by aflatoxins. One way of storage is ensuring that when you're storing your crops, make sure you are putting them in the correct temperatures and in the correct formulation. That is, the granary that you're placing your crops should be very well ventilated and have enough space to ensure that your crops maintain the correct temperatures. If you want to get more information, you can visit the Markup website, as well as the European Union. As you know, the Markup aflatoxin campaign is funded by the European Union and implemented by Markup. Here at Farmers, our work is mainly to create awareness about aflatoxins. I'll be taking a short breather, but this stay with the Evening Farm Drive. We'll be back shortly to continue the conversation with Samuel.
Abavumera. Abanyamugerera wa haha. Uko nikukwatiriya. Ah.
Welcome back to the Evening Farm Drive with me, Jackie Mo. We are just analyzing some of the stories that have been making headlines, and I've been joined by one Samuel Mwangi, who is an agronomist, and he's giving us some very good insights on some of the stories that have been trending throughout the year. And we were on the climate talks that took place at Sharm el Sheikh, the COP27 talks, and he's shared some very nice insights. Thank you so much, Samuel, for staying put in today's program.
Thank you very much, Jackie.
Yeah, to continue with our conversation, you were mentioning something to do with the soils and some of the solutions that you gathered and garnered from the COP27. And my question now comes in on the issue of crop diversification. You were about to mention one of the solutions about for the livestock herders on storing hay. I also I've been discussing with some of the livestock keepers and some of the CECs in agriculture in some of the regions that have been worst hit by drought. And most of the livestock herders are now being told to reduce their livestock. So my question is, could crop diversification, people moving from the normal crops that they're used to growing drought resilient crops such as root crops, can it be a solution to the ongoing food crisis and the food situation in the country? And what are some of other solutions do you have in mind that you can share with farmers?
Very interesting, Jackie. I think one thing we need to understand on crop diversification is that this is why now we come to growing of different types of crops. And I think this is a very good approach as much as food production is protecting food is concerned. Because I was thinking on if most of us, especially farming in Kenya, we are so much interested in doing the horticultural crops, just the common crops. And the solution to this, you see now when we have like when let me talk now. Let me be away from now the crop field now to the animal field and still basing my answers on the same. So if you think about that time that we've experienced the drought in some areas whereby we experienced animal dying and simply because of food shortages, lack of feed to feed on the animals. In as much as farmers can also be advised on the reduction, I think diversification also comes in as a good solution. Sorry, there was a problem on my end.
Yeah, we noticed, we realized. You can go on.
Okay, let's continue. There was a problem on my end. So, in as much as the reduction of animal, can you hear me, Jackie?
Yes, you can hear you.
Okay, in as much as I was talking about, in as much as the reduction of animal or by those animal keepers is concerned, we can also have farmers doing the diversification thing. This is where now we come to farmers now doing like growing the fodder crops. We, that's a good solution to, especially now when you talk about animal production. Because I tend to think that time that we had this drought, the reason there was this drought is because there was no enough of hay, there was no enough of those people who had done the fodder crop, that is this crops that are mostly fed to our animals. I think that is also another channel that most of us farmers or those people who are doing farming, that's also another chance that you can also venture into and giving you some good return, because it's an area that has not been exploited. Not there are very few farmers who are doing the production of these things. So you see, diversification is also a solution to this. If we had farmers who had done Like for example, let's talk of this grass variety. Like we have the desmodiums, the rusans, the the rodents and all that, the coriander. I mean, these crops that are mostly fed to our animals. We could not have been experiencing these things. I think those are the same farmers who could be supplying the feeds now to the animals, so that we can also reduce the chances of them dying out of hunger. I think also we also have another thing to do. Maybe those farmers who are in those areas that are usually experience the drought periods, they may also embrace on the importance of when, because of course they have season when the wet season in those areas. They can also embrace the idea of growing these crops, and maybe after some times they have it in plenty and they store it, because it's very easy to store these grasses and all that now in form of hay, silages and all that. They also need to replace such stations, so that during this period of dry season they have enough feeds in stock for their crop or for their animals, so that they reduce these chances of animal dying every time when we have droughts. So I think that is also in as much as crop diversification is concerned, that is also another area that maybe farmers close to those areas can also venture in. You see now they will also reduce the number of people who are, because most farmers are in Kenya are so much into horticulture. So that is also another diversification aspect of the same that can also bring a solution to these problems of drought and all that, Jackie.
Very nice insights there you're sharing, and I like the background where you're standing, because I'm seeing there are a number of crops and you also have trees that you've grown there. Is that a system of shamba system?
Yes, this is also a system, because like I've told you, I'm practicing this farming that is so much friendly to the environment, and that's all we need. Because in as much as you may be doing farming here, you also need these trees. Like if you look at this area, we are just about to cut these trees. I said no, we should not cut them. You see, what we've done is to trim them, so that they don't also bring problems to our crops. But in as much as this environment, you see what usually happens to trees. They act as weed breakers. Remember, if there are some crops that you can do here that need these branches, so where do we get it? So we need to have it still in the farm. So trees is also important, and you all know that uh, uh, deforestation has been a problem to our country. Remember, these are some of the things that are bringing this effect. You can see, you can experience. We are experiencing right now, because a problem of lack of rain, prolonged droughts. These are problems that we human beings, or we the farmers, are causing ourselves this menace. Because when you cut down trees, it means that the area will be very weedy. Uh, we also know that these are the same trees will also attract the rainfall. So I think, in as much as your point is concerned, Jackie, we also need to take care of our environment as much as farming is concerned. But that is also by conserving our trees. Remember, in Kenya, we are having a very low coverage of trees, and that you can also hear of the government now coming up with strategies of ensuring that people plant more trees, because these are the solution to these, to whatever we are experiencing right now. The things of drought and all that, they are mostly caused by our own. It's like we are the same cause of this thing. Because if we increase the cutting down of trees, then it means that we shall have drought seasons, prolonged ones, because of it. So we need to also have an approach that is also environmental friendly, so that we reduce these things.
Thank you so much, Samuel, for staying put with us as we look at some of the stories that are making headlines. I'll ask you to stay put still with us. I'll be taking a quick breather, but when I come back, we'll be coming back with part 2 of this interview, as we come to a conclusion of some of the stories that have made headlines. Do stay with us, Samuel. We'll be back shortly after this break.
Thank you, Jackie.